going. And I'll keep going. Okay, so we're working with our weighted ball. Now I'm on the other leg, and I'm going from side to side. And see, I'm controlling that ball by turning at my ankle. Could you do all of these sitting? Absolutely, you could. But you have to still be very conscious of what your posture is doing. So like right now, I'm supporting myself with this leg. That starts warming up just by hanging out here and manipulating this ball back and forth with the side of my foot, then the instep, then the side of the foot. See, I'm rolling it, keeping it all the way down here, and then I roll to the other side, okay? So it's this kind of a thing. After we did the front rolling of the ball, you're going to go side to side, just like this. So this is the second leg. We already did the first leg. So for those who are coming in on the YouTube, we did the forward, dome, point, back, heel down. Forward, dome, point, back, heel down. Okay? And we did it on both legs. Now we're doing side to side rolling. So we're starting at the feet today. And the reason I like to use a weighted ball, this is a 6-pounder, is because it's a little bigger. And keep your hand either on a wall or on a chair or a counter, because I'll tell you, when you overbalance sometimes when you're on one foot then versus the other one, you will at some point kind of overbalance one way or the other. And on a ball especially, it's a real risk, because you know what you tend to do? You tend to put your weight into the ball. Well, what's it going to do? It's going to roll out from under you. So I tell you this because I want you to be very conscious of prepping whenever that you're going to do this kind of a warm-up. Okie dokie. So now we're going to turn our hands in like this. My ball's here. We're going to start standing our little pillow. Hi, y'all coming on. Yeah, we've been starting with the foot first. Now we're going to come right on up into the calves and to the legs. Then we're going to go into the core and to the upper body. Okay. So I already warmed up the foot a lot, which includes ankle, which includes toes, which includes heel. Now I'm going to come right here, and then I'm going to come right back here. I'm not going to do a hyperextension. Well, what am I doing? I'm on the pillow or the disc or the non-compromising surface. Okay, so the surface doesn't compromise. It's pushing me everywhere. All right. If I was on cement, it wouldn't be pushing me everywhere. It would be very, very no compromise. I mean, very compromised. So we'll come down here like this. See, this spongy stuff doesn't comply with my foot. So that's called non-compromising. But if I step on a solid cement, that is steady, compromised. Here we go. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So now I'm starting to get into my calves. Yep. And you know what? If you want to wake up all those nerves as much as you can in your feet, what we just did to start you on that pathway with the rolling of the ball, the doming of the foot. Now, as I press in and back, I'm starting to wake up my calves much more. Okay. And I'm opening my toes as I push into my front foot, opening my toes. Then I go into my heel. Then I go into my toes. Now I'm going to step right in the middle, and I'm going to step back. And I'm going to have my chair right here if I need it. Okay, now I'm going up into my calf, my hamstring, my hip, okay? And I'm going to come out with a hand and out with a hand. Now, don't get too big with this move, okay? Number one, I'm down here. So when I go like this, I need to be able to see down my hand. If I'm doing this, I can't see down my hand. Do you see that? That's where people get into trouble with their shoulders. They go, what, really big. I'm not going really big. I'm coming back and forth. But I'm doing a split leg stance and I'm stretching through the calf at the same time. The front leg is definitely bent. My shoulders are definitely down. I'm in a split stance. That only means like in a mid walk. This is just a big walk stance. Then when I go to put my hand out like this, see, a lot of you let your shoulder come way out of the socket. And that's what gets you into trouble. Bend your elbow, keep your shoulder down, and then do that repetitive move. But your hand should be well under your chin. Because if I'm going up repeatedly, that's a little too much for a shoulder to handle, okay? Do you see how it's coming right out under my chin? I don't go any further than the height of where my chin is. See, I can see my fingers. So put your hand out here. Can you see your fingers? See, some of you cannot. You know why? Because you went up like this. See, I don't see my fingers here. That's too high. Come here and just go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and if you've held this split stance and you've been using this non-compromising surface, you're feeling it through your joints and in a good way, because it's waking them up, because they're being used for stability, they're being used for balance. You've got muscle contraction going on. So now I change the legs. We're going from the toes to the calves. Now we're coming up into the hips and the back, and we'll come right on up as we're starting to add our shoulders, okay? So here I go again. This is my little test to you. So you put your hand out like this, and I will guarantee you that if you do this, you've thrown your shoulder out in order to do that. Drop your shoulders, say rib cage up, drop your shoulders, keep your chin tucked. And now when you do this, my elbow is just a little soft because I'm going to keep my shoulder down. If you throw your shoulder up, generally you're doing this and you're going way up too high. That is a stress on a shoulder, okay? So now once I have that, once I'm set and I have the right form, then I can do it at a nice little pace. And this really helps warm up through the core, which comes into play all of our lats, all of our shoulder girdle now, in through our stomach, our back. And at the same time, I am working my stability muscles all around my knee, all around my hip. I'm really pushing that heel down in the back. And then I come down and take a big deep breath. And wow, I have hit all of these major structures, but I've done it gently so that it doesn't get you into trouble with a shoulder here, a knee here, a back here. So I'm going to come back to the stance now as we're going to work right on in after we woke up everything. I still have a gluteal work to do. So what I'm going to do is a wide, see, it's as wide as my little pillow. And I'm going to put my hands right here at my hip hinge, okay? Drop my chin, say rib cage up, soften your knees. And when you soften your knees, you push your butt back. Then you should be feeling the bend right there, see? I'm going to go down. I'm going to hang out down here for a second, and then I'm going to come back up. and squeeze my butt. Then I'm going to release it, come back down, squeeze, back down, release, come back up, squeeze right there. Take a breath, come back down, squeeze. So I got my hands right here where my hip hinges because I want to feel that hip hinging motion. Okay, here's my trainer's tip. As we're doing this very important version of a squat, very important not to take your head, your chest, your trunk below your butt. Yeah, some of you are doing that. And you think you're doing a deep squat, but in fact, all you're doing is putting your head down a little too low. Okay? So now push that butt back, stay into the heels as you do this. It's not done fast, but it's done very steady. So stay with me as I push through my heels and I come up. And as you're coming down, now you're barefooted. So you should be able to really feel where's the pressure in my feet. Is it too much in the front? Is it too much on my inner instep? Is it too much on the outside of my feet? So here I'm going into the heels, then I come and I rotate into the front of the foot. But you don't want to be rolling on the outside of your feet, and you don't want to be caving on the inside of your feet. Take a breath, exhale right there, really pull the rib cage up. Stay with me, don't stop now. You guys are doing really good. So Kathy will tell you whenever I'm doing this with no weights, you know you're going to be doing a few. Because yes, I'm trying to get you to the point where you understand and have the endurance in your muscles to do repeated work like this. Okay, this is a very functional move, but so many people don't function well doing it. And I told you just now some of the pitfalls when we're doing this kind of repeated type of a squat. And it's not deep, but it's not high either. It's as if you were going to sit in a chair. That's what it is. And then take breaths. Some of you hold your breaths. And when you're trying to approach 3 sets of 10 on a move like this, so right now my butt's tight. Now I'm going to release. Now I'm going to keep my rib cage up. That's the trick. Keep your rib cage up, tuck your chin, and go lower with your butt than your head. That's kind of important. So we are probably in the 3rd set of 10 is my guess about now, because we've been doing this kind of like a walk. So it's no weights, it's just our body weight. But I'm encouraging you to think about how you're coming down into this sitting position, which is what it is. It's a sitting type position. So let's do 3 more. Okay. 2 more. Yeah, stay with me. Okay, now the last one, we're going to hang on to it. Drop your shoulders. Now get your butt just a little lower. Bring your hands out here. Drop your butt just a little lower. Keep your chin tucked. Take a breath. Take a breath. Make sure you're on one foot and the other foot the same. Try to equalize out the pressure. Go to your heels. Rib cage up. Take a breath. Take a breath. Take a breath. Stay with me. Stay with me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! You should feel it here. You should feel it here. Yes. And all I did was get you in the right position to do that kind of a work. Okie dokie. Woo. All right. Now then, we're going to come right back here to my little chair. Okay. We're going to stand on our pillow. We're going to use it again. I want to encourage you, especially if you're working barefooted, use your pillow anytime you can. Number one, it will give you a bigger sense of, oh, geez, this is spongy. I have to really think what I'm doing. and awareness. That's number one. But number two, it pads your foot. And if you have arthritis problems, if you have, issues with your feet, wow, can that be helpful? Okie dokie. So here's my little round ball right there. I'm going to bring it, see, put it right here, right in the chair. We're going to use it here in just a second. I'm standing on my pillow, all right? I am going to put my hands right on that ball. See, I can do it with this one because it's not spongy too much. This is a weighted ball. If you don't want to do that, if you only have a spongy ball, do not put your hands on the ball on the chair. It's going to move on you too much, okay? So I hope you're hearing me. Okay, I hope you're hearing me. Okay, you either put your hands on the chair or for a little more core and shoulder engagement, you put them on the ball, all right? Either or. You get to choose. So I'm going to bend my elbows, keep my chin tucked, and I'm going to put more pressure on one leg, and I'm going to put my toe right back here. See that? And see, that ball is going to move you. If that bothers you, don't use the ball, okay? I like to use it because it makes me work harder, and I'm okay with working harder. Some of you have shoulder issues, balance issues, etc., that might give a problem with that. Then you simply put your hands on the chair like this. See that? Take a big breath, either hands on the ball or hands on the chair, but your supporting knee is bent. See how it's holding me here? So I'm going to go tap to the side, tap to the back, tap to the side, tap to the back, tap to the side, and tap to the back. Now I'm going to switch, but before I do that, I'm going to push my butt back, release my hands, and come up, okay? I've given you some really good modifications. Please use them. So some of you really need to put your hands on the chair, not the ball, okay? It's going to be too much, especially if you're on this pillow, if you're on this little disc, okay? So now this is my side that I have much less stability in because this is my hip replace side. So if you're there, you need to go into this move carefully. Because if you have that weighted ball here and you're not doing so good on your stability on that side, it could throw you very quickly, okay? So put your hands in the chair, get your bearings, bring that leg up, drop your shoulders, tap, squeeze your butt when it's up there. Then you're going to go tap and 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 tap. Breath and breath, okay? Now I haven't had my hand on the ball, but I'm going to try it. You do not have to, okay? I can tell you it's much more challenging for me doing it on this leg with the ball than the other leg. Take a breath. See it just come up, squeeze, tap to the side, come up, squeeze, tap to the side, tap to the side, breath, breath, breath. Hang in there, hang in there, hang in there. Okay, one more, one more, one more. Breath and breath. And put your feet on that little pad. Yay. All right. Doing good? Okay. Now we're going to go from that move right down into the floor. This is Mobility Wednesday, right? Now, do you have to go on the floor? No, you do not. You can do everything that we're going to do just now totally from the chair. You can use the pad or not, but you're going to address the chair like this. See? And we're going to do some hip motions. a lot of hip motions, but you can do every one of them standing, putting your hand on the chair. You can use the pad or not use the pad. It's up to you. I'm going to use the pad because I'm going to come down and I'm going to put my knees on the pad. Okay? So you can put your hand on the chair, come right down to the pad. All right, now I'm going to turn it so you can see what I'm doing. See that? So I'm going to put my knees on the pad. And you can either put your hands in a fist on the pad or you can put them on the floor. It's whatever is more comfortable for you. Everybody's got different lengths in the trunk, shoulders, you know, ability to move back and forth. So either on the chair, standing on the floor, or knees on the pad or not on the pad. Hands in the floor. Fists, okay? I'm going to bring that knee up toward my chin, but I'm not going to dip my head down. See, I'm just going to come and squeeze my tummy. So I'm going to come in like this, then I'm going to go straight back. I'm going to come back in, and then I'm going to go up to the side. Okay? Now, many of you are going to remember this move. They used to call it the fire hydrant. I think you can understand why. There's a lot of movements through Tai Chi, through exercise in general, and they're using a lot of movements that we observe in animals because animals move a lot better than we do. So that's where this one came from. I don't think I need to explain anymore, right? So I'm going to bring my knee right out here to the side, go straight back, tap the toe down, and here's the deal. When I bring my leg up like this, many of you roll your hip because you're trying to avoid using your hamstring and some other weaker muscles in the hip. So you'll do something like this. You'll come up here and then you roll, and you see you open this and you lift. We don't want to do that, right? So both hips have to stay pointing down. So I've got my knees on the pad, very comfortable. My elbows are soft, my shoulders are down. Take breaths, bring your knee in, and then go straight back, squeeze the butt, bring it back in, and then open. Keep your hips forward, facing forward. Then go back, then come back in, and then rotate. And you notice you don't have to go way up. I've seen classes where, you know, people are taking their knee way up over their back. And I'm like, that's kind of discounting the very muscles that you're trying to strengthen. So don't roll your hip out. Bring it out, bring it in, then come up, but don't roll. Come back down. We're going to do 3 more. Stay with me. Elbows are soft. Bring the knee in, rotate, and see, this is my hip replace side. So I'm not overly rotating it. I'm just merely trying to work the muscles that normally function when you rotate and lift out into that kind of a plane. Take a big deep breath. We're going to rotate to the other side. But before we do that, we're going to come down to the elbows. And we're just going to push our hips back as far as we can go. And so some of you might say, well, you're not going back very far, Jeannie. And I would tell you, as will many other people in my class that have knees replaced as well as hips, you can only go so far. So you want to maintain that, but you can't, it physically won't bend if you've had a knee replacement. Okay. Elbows are soft. My tummy is tight. My shoulders are down. I'm going to shift. I'm going to bring this knee in. Then I'm going to go straight back. Now keep my tummy tight. And I'm going to bring it in again, and I'm going to rotate it up to the side with a bent knee. Okay? So those are working in and out of our adductors, our abductors, our flexors, our extensors, just with this one move. Now, this move has been done many times. You've seen it in classes. You've done it in classes. But many times it's done incorrectly. So I've slowed it down. I go straight back. Then I come back in. Okay, now keep your tummy tight. Don't roll your hip. Bring it up and hold it there for just a second. Your elbows are soft. Push back. Take a big deep breath. You can lift and tighten in that gluteal. Then release. Bring it back forward. Flexion to the side. Bring it back in. Abduction, adduction. Push it back. And flexion. Take a big deep breath. Take a breath. Okay. I got 3 more to do. Here we go. Straight back. Bring it in. Don't roll your hips. Bring it up. Hold. Come back down. Push it back. Push it in. Up to the side. Don't roll the hips. Woo! Last one. You guys are doing good. Hang with me. Hang with me. I gave you a break. See that? And come back down and come back out and come back in. Oh, push into the hips as far as you can. Elbows. Yes. Keep your chin tucked. Okay. Take a big breath. Now we're going to go to a high plank. Now, some of you might not want to do a high plank. See, I'm going to bring my knees off of the bench, off of the little pillow. And for those of you who want to do a gentler plank, you're on the chair. You're doing the same position from the chair. And you're right up here, and your toes are going to be pulled under, and you're going to just take your knees off the ground. So keep your tummy super tight. Drop your shoulders, soften your elbows, and just bring one or both knees off the ground. If you do both, then that's going to be a lot more intense, but you can just do one. See, I'm working you into this plank move, and I'm telling you, if you have delicate backs, if you have delicate joints, the plank is one of the basic moves in like a Pilates discipline, a yoga discipline, okay? Because it gently loads you in a prone position. It's using your back and your core, your shoulders, your arms, your legs very differently, but it's a great load. Then put your knees down, take a breath, put your elbows down. Relax your hands. Keep your chin tucked. And we're going to hit it again. One more time, maybe 2 times. So here I go. I'll either put my hands open or I'll do my fist, whichever you feel comfortable, or I'll do it at the chair. Okay? You can pick any of those. Okay? The toes go under. We're going to go straight back with one leg, one knee, and then just bring the knee off the ground. See, if I just hang out here for just a few seconds, I'm talking 3 to 6 seconds. Then I switch. So my knee is off the ground, but the leg is bent. Okay? And then I'll switch again. So take a big breath. You could be on your elbows. You could be on the chair. Take and bend again. Take a breath. Take a breath. Take a breath. And just keep exchanging. Try to hang out here for a few seconds. Then put your knees down. Then put your elbows down. I put mine on my little pad here. Okay? I know that you're loving this, aren't you? Okay, now we're going to come back to this. I'm just letting you know we're going to come back to this. All right? But right now, I'm going to sit on the pad right in front of my chair. Okay. So here's my chair right here. Here's my weighted ball. Okay. I'm going to put my heel up. See, like that? And I'm just going to lean back. See how I'm setting you up here? Do you have to put your foot up in the chair? No, you do not. You can do all of this just sitting on the chair. So if you're sitting on the chair, you just put your one leg out and it's touching the floor. See? That'd be perfectly fine. Because some of you are not, you are having a problem with getting down the floor. I understand all that. So I'm giving you an out right now. Okay, see how I just switched? So I could be sitting in the chair doing this very thing. Just leaned back and doing this very, very thing. Sorry about that. Let me get that to quit buzzing. Yes. There. Okay, so that'll give me an opportunity to show you the modification. If I was in a chair wanting to do the very thing I'm doing on the floor, this is how I would be sitting. See, I would go out like this and out like this. See that? Rib cage up, hip hinge. I can either use the back of the chair or suspend in front of the chair. This is the modification move to what we're doing right now. Okie dokie. So here I am. I'm going to sit. I'm going to do the very thing that some of you are doing, sitting on the chair. Here I go. So I'm right here. My hands are right here. Elbow is bent. Sorry, one at a time. I didn't mean to push you too badly. So you see this? Yeah, so I'm leaned back. My hands are pointing at my hips. And I'm going to go push. And I'm going to come right back. I'm going to go push. So I'm in effect doing a sit back. So see that sit back? But by doing it like this, I have to keep my rib cage up. And as I open the hip and I stretch that leg out, keep my chin tucked, then I come back. Watch your elbows. Don't let them flare too badly. They need to be pointing straight behind you. Take a breath. When you open back, whether you're in the chair or whether you're doing it the way I'm doing it, you want to make sure you keep your rib cage up because you don't want your back to flex here. Okay, bring that one down. Now, before you put the other one up, you should have gotten quite a tension right here and right here, okay? So you're just going to come like this, and you're just going to let that knee roll out. The minute you do that, you're going to have such a release, okay? And if you're in the chair, you just bring your leg over your knee like that, see? Just push it down, let it release. You got it? Okay, bring it back. All right. Take a big breath. Now we're going to bring the other one right here. So in order to get it up there, you have to do one of two things. You have to scoot back a little bit, or you have to open at your hip hinge, or many people round their back. I don't want you to round your back, okay? So I'm going to open, and I'm going to bring that leg right there. And all I'm going to do is bring it in and bring it out. So I'm doing, in effect, a sit back with an elevated leg, okay? Which makes me really have to be careful about what I'm doing with my back. I don't want it rounded. I want to go back. I want to really work through here. And I'm just straightening that leg. And you can put your hand under here if you want to. That's okay. Take a breath. But don't flex your back. So this is Mobility Wednesdays. I started at your toes this morning. And I went on up. Now we're working right back through but I chose to get into the floor to do a lot of our work. Okay, but you can do all of this sitting on the chair. You just sit back, reach your leg out, and then come back up. It's a simple sit back. That's what it's called. Sit back, extend, come back in. See that? Sit back, extend, come back in. Take a breath, sit back, yeah, and then come back in. So it's a reverse curl. It's a reverse sit up. Instead of a sit up, it's a sit back. All right. Now, if that's tight on you, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? If you're sitting in the chair, you're simply going to cross your leg like that and just let that hip roll out a little bit. See? Just like that. Oh, immediate release right there. Super great. All right. Take a big deep breath. So what I'm hammering on today, y'all, is yes, we started at your feet. Yes, I'm barefooted. It makes me have a lot more mobility in my ankle, my feet. I'm having to really work around the ball. We started doing that. But now I'm going to use the ball and I'm going to do what's called ABC push-ups. Okay? Now, don't quit and say, I can't do push-ups. See, don't do that. Now, if you are on your hands and knees, you can go ahead and use the pad. That's perfectly fine. If you're in the chair, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to do ABC push-ups. You put your ball in the chair. This is the modification. Okay? I'm going to be just like this. The more challenging, the more open into a lean out you are. The more modified, the more you come in here like this. Your elbows are bent, and you're going to do this. You're going to take this ball and roll it back and forth and bring it back. A, B, see this? C, see that? So if I open more and I get more pressure coming into my upper back and my shoulders, make sure your chair is solid. See, I'm just going to go tap, roll, roll. So I can do it right here or in the floor. You get to choose. But here's the deal, y'all. If you spent time doing nothing else to help your strength, and you picked squats properly done, and you picked some variations of planks or push-ups, you would be far ahead of the curve as strength goes. Now, when we add free weights, of course, that's just facilitating everything. But here I am again, down on the floor. So those of you who have chosen the chair, you're going to keep working at it. But if you're down here, it's the same thing. If you get more straight with your body, see, if you get more straight, this is going to be harder and harder. So what I'm saying is just open your knees out. That's all. Keep your knees down, but open them out. Okay? Then you're going to take this, you're going to go one side, and you're going to go A, switch, B, see that? So when you do this, you have a play on your abdominal muscles, all your shoulder girdle, shoulder, everything, knee, hip, and see if I keep sliding my knees out and going straighter, and then I take one leg up and I do the ABCs, A, roll, B, roll. See? Some of you should be at XYZ by now. I just keep stopping to show what you're doing. Kathy knows. See, she's going to tell me how many she's done and how many I've done. So see, I just keep doing one at a time, and then I have one leg up now. So I'm doing modified. I'm not going straight out right now because this is going to be very challenging. But you can make it very modified. This is superior training for not only your back, your spine, loading, your mobility. Oh my goodness, just everything. So I'm going to put my elbows down and take a little rest, okay? I want to remind some of you out there that if you say to yourself, why should I do a push-up? That is a little too hard for me. And it might be too hard for you, but I'm showing you modifications. Here's the first modification, A, B, and you just keep going like that. Second modification, open back, continue it. So do 10, do half of the ABCs, very modified, and then half come up here and bend one leg out. And as you release a hand and you roll that ball, oh my goodness, you start feeling that pressure, okay? Take a big deep breath. Now I'm going to go sit right here. I'm going to keep my weighted ball. I'm going to use my chair and my ball, and we're going to end up on some classic back bridging, okay? So if you want to do this and you want to be in the floor to do it, great. You can do the back bridging in your bed, on a couch, whatever. Or you can do the back bridging in a chair. I'm going to show it to you in a chair because sometimes it can be confusing if you don't see it. So if I wanted to do what I'm going to do with many of you, if you're in the floor, I'm going to go just like this, okay? I have this like this. I'm going to go push out. See that? Then I'm going to squeeze the ball, put my hands here, lift my hip, come back, push, squeeze the ball, lift the hip. That's what I'm going to do. But when you lift the hip, you got to make sure your shoulders are down, okay? So you don't hurt your shoulders. This is a great move because it combines some very essential moves for the back. In back bridging, you can do it from the chair or, as we're going to do, on the ground, okay? You can either use your pad under your head or not, under your hips or not, under both, whatever you want to do. So I'm going to get in this position. I'm going to put my feet in the chair. Now, some of you may not be ready to do feet in the chair. In that case, you just keep your feet on the ground. That's the next modification. So here's my weighted ball. I'm just going to go up from the chest, just like that. I'm going to go press. I'm going to go elbow down, just a gentle press. Have my hands around there. Really use my fingers. And then if I have my feet on the ground, I'm going to put the ball right between the knees, and I'm going to press my hip up. Then I'm going to come back down carefully. Okay? Those of you who want to, you can have your feet on the chair. So I've given you 2 or 3 variations of how to do this. So you're going to take a break. You're going to go up. You're going to go to the side, maybe a couple times just for a nice rotation. Then you're going to go like this, right in between the knees, squeeze, push, and then come back down. Take a big breath. Push, roll the hip up, roll the hip back down. And if that's too much for you, do it on the floor and get to where you can do it 30 times. See, 30 times. Just push that ball just like that and push your hips up and come back down. When you go up and you elevate up here, it's going to be very difficult. It's supposed to be. And so anybody that has a hamstring issue, this is one of the best ways to strengthen it. However, you have to do it little at a time. Take a big breath. Hang out here. Squeeze your butt. Push. And then come back down. Take a big breath. Push. And come back down. So you're going to go lift your hips. And you're going to rotate so that you're in a vertebrae, each vertebrae is going to roll, 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 and then roll, roll, roll down. So you're going to go roll, roll, roll. You're pushing down on your heels. You're going to come up just as far as you feel you can. You're going to squeeze your butt. Come back down. Take a breath. If this gets too hard, go back down to the floor. Press and roll down. So many times when somebody is rehabbing some kind of a hip or knee or back issue, you'll be on the floor and then you'll go up, like you could put them up 2 inches at a time. Like you could put this under your feet before you go to the bench. See, that will be just a little bit more of an elevation. You'll feel it a little more, but not as much as putting it up on the chair. Okay? Take a big deep breath. So you pick which level is going to work for you. And then switch it. See, I'm going to switch back. I'm squeezing the ball, and it's a weighted ball. Okay, 6 pounds. And I'm going to bring my hips up first. Squeeze. Up, 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 up. Down, 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 down. Like a string of pearls. I'm going to do 3 more. You pick which level you want and do them with me. Take a breath. Rotate. Back down. I think that was 3. Okay. All right. So before we get out of this position, whether you're on the chair or you're down here with me, you're bring one knee in and then straighten your leg as best as you can. Point, flex. Point, flex. And here's the deal. If you can't get your leg up here like this and you're really tight, then go out like this, just a little, and bend your knee in. And then from the knee over the tummy, then you pulse. See? And you try to hit that stretch gently. Okay? Don't go down here and say, oh, this is all I can do. Because if that's all you do, you're not going to get any improvement. So what you want is to go ahead and bend the knee in as much as you can. Hold it right here over your tummy. And then try to pulse it up till you feel that stretch up. So you get a full stretch through the hamstring. And you'll work at this for a little bit. Okay? Yeah, you'll work at it for a little bit. And then you do the other leg. So you bring their knee in. And you just tease it up there and see where your flexibility levels are. And then you point, flex, bring that knee in when you need a break. And then you just pulse it back up. Hang out there and just let it really stretch all the way through. Take a breath. Here we go. Point, flex. And come back down. And you're going to be working at it for a little bit. That's just the way it is. So I'm going to roll to the side. I'm going to equalize before I go stand up. I'm going to put my toes under. I can either use my chair to get up, or I can just push myself onto my feet, take a breath, and then I'm up. And I'm raring to go. Because I've stretched out completely all my hamstrings that tend to really tighten in your back. So I hope you got those modifications today.